At Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California, the Sprint Cup Series cars are parked on pit road. Something new, nose out, and ready to qualify. It's time to see who wins the pole for Sunday's Auto Club 400. It's Sprint Cup Series qualifying, all part of Fast Friday, presented by K&N. Beautiful day, a little bit of LA haze up there on Mount Baldy. The temperatures climbed to 84 first day of spring degrees. Winds out of the southwest at 5, and the track temp about 112 degrees. So the big question as we roll into Fontana, the third race of our West Coast swing for 2015 is, will we see it? Will there be a new track record?
I really think there will, and particularly if the sun goes down just a little bit more, track cools off just a little bit more. We saw Kurt Busch. I mean, he was 3/10 off the record on that first lap he made, and these guys always are able to step it up when it comes to qualifying. So I think we'll see a new track record, which is absolutely unbelievable to me.
Yeah, but I think the biggest question, can a Ford driver or a Toyota driver beat one of these Chevrolet drivers? Because if you look back at practice, we really only had one Ford driver that really showed some speed, and that was Brad Keselowski in that 2 car, and really only one Toyota driver, that was Denny Hamlin. The top 10 from practice, it was saturated with Chevrolet drivers, and guess who was at the top of that practice sheet? He was there a week ago at Phoenix, Kurt Busch in that 41 car.
That's true. It was an interesting practice session, incident-free, thank goodness. But we've had some driver changes and some things we'll bring you up on as we go. But first, the nose.
Yes.
They are nosed out.
You can't now look, we've been watching them do this for quite a while now, the qualifying process.
Over a year.
And when the cars were headed in toward the wall, when they'd say, okay, the track's open for practice, it was such a cluster. I mean, I don't know any other way to put it. Guys are backing into each other and running over each other. At least, and not only that, but it cost you time. I mean, you've only got a short period of time here to qualify. When you've got to mess around and get people out of your way so you can get on the racetrack, this is just a lot cleaner, a lot neater. That's the way it ought to look.
There were reasons why they did it nose in to help the crews, but we're going to try it this way. Carl Edwards is in a backup car. Let's show you why.
It's on a qualifying run, and a pretty good one at that until this happened. And the back end just stepped out, and the front headed in the wall and tore the right front off of the thing.
Heavy damage there. Backup car rolled out. I said we were incident-free. Not quite. There was that one. Chris Neville?
Yeah, Carl Edwards down walking to his car right now. Carl, obviously, you didn't get any practice time in the backup car, so now you're rolling to qualifying like this, knockout qualifying. How tough is that with a car you had no laps in?
Darian and them just, they told me, look, we have to race this car. You cannot screw this up. So I just really appreciate the guys working so hard. You don't want to wreck like that. I just, like I said, you know how it is. You think, I'm going to save this, I can do this, and I couldn't. So hopefully we get a good run. And I guess for some reason we get to start wherever we qualify. So, we got to get a good effort in.
Well, good luck out there, bud.
What Carl's referring to is they went to a backup car, but because they did so prior to qualifying, they will be allowed to start the race in the position in which they qualify. Kevin Harvick and Danica Patrick talk things over as we get ready to qualify. Sprint Cup teams getting ready to qualify here at Auto Club Speedway. Time for today's K&N driver profile. It is Ryan Newman, driver of the number 31 Caterpillar Chevrolet. Purdue may have been knocked out of the tournament, but this Boilermaker's on a roll. Top 10 finish in 9 of the last 12 races. 3rd at Las Vegas and Phoenix, and 7th in this morning's practice.
Race cars don't have horns on them. Where'd that come from?
I don't know.
But you saw where he finished 3rd the last 2 races. Last year, it was all the way to the end of June before he got his first top 5 finish of the year.
All right, let's meet the man who was fastest in practice, Chris.
He was fastest in practice and very happy with the car. Kurt, I heard a lot of drivers talking about their car being a little bit loose off the corners, but you guys, it was all smiles this morning.
And she was stuck really good right off the trailer. So thanks to Tony Gibson and the engineering staff and really everybody back at Stewart-Haas who's building great quality cars. You know, I'm just happy to be back at the track and running fast. And now I got to go do my job here through 3 rounds of qualifying. Round 1, round 2, and hopefully round 3 we'll have this Haas Automation Chevy on top of the board.
Yeah, back at a track where he's looking for his 4th pole. Jamie?
Walking with Ryan Newman. As you can see, guys, the wind has really picked up here. Ryan, what are your concerns, if any, going into this qualifying session?
I'm trying to figure out how the wind picks up, but
Well, it was pretty much dormant earlier.
it's blowing harder.
Yes, thank you.
No, I think that our Caterpillar Chevrolet is pretty good, and you're right, it is blowing harder, so it'll affect you going into turn 1 and probably a little bit tighter off turn 2. But other than that, it's the same for everybody. You just got to adjust in the race car a little bit.
And the good news, your car seems to be pretty fast once again.
But I can still screw it up, so you never know.
Well, there you have it. Yes, he can, guys.
Thanks, Jamie. The wind picks up. I guess if it gets really windy, it could pick you up.
Yeah, it could.
There's a wind farm outside
those things,
the track.
There's just something about those things. I don't know what it is. They make me nervous.
All right, there's no correlation between those and the black helicopters.
I know, but there's something about
Okay. There's the breeze blowing. It's a headwind down the backstretch. During practice, we saw a lot of this, a lot of side skirt scraping and splitter sanding along the back straightaway, and a lot of up and down motion from that rear suspension. My goodness.
These drivers, they say they like tracks with character. This baby's got plenty of it.
Now you add the wind. It's a headwind down the back straightaway, and then add the sun, which now is sitting right in direct line with turn number 3.
Now, whoa, wait just a minute. That's just getting a little carried away right there.
I don't know, Daryl. No sun visors
but look,
on these
when
cars.
he goes down the back straight, hits one of those bumps, his head's going to be way up in there somewhere. He won't even be able to see where he's going.
That is about as much as I've ever seen a windshield
I've never
taped
seen that
up.
before.
Well, I don't know. There's his eye line, kind of right there. Would you say?
Well, but what
Let's
about
say,
when,
let's
when he
hope
hits
that's
the
where
bump?
his eye
It'll be
line
up
is.
here somewhere.
Jamie.
Well, Jeff Gordon's been having a little bit of fun out here on the West Coast. Went to American Idol last night. What was that like?
Oh, that was incredible. It's a great show. I really want to thank American Idol and Fox and NASCAR, everybody that coordinated that for me to be there. It was a real thrill. I was pretty nervous standing on that stage, knowing there's millions of people watching, but it was very cool. I'm excited about having all the idols out here to sing the national anthem on Sunday and say, drivers, start your engines.
All right, that's going to be a lot of fun, and I know you're going to get in your car now. Jeff Gordon going for his 3rd pole here at California Speedway.
I think the non-shaving look there is to emulate Ryan Seacrest, although his, I think, is a few days more along. We'll see.
It's just a California look.
That says, thank you, Jeff. One of 4 drivers to win a pole position this season so far.
If you go all the way back to Homestead, Jeff has actually won 3 out of the last 5 poles.
And 4 out of the last 5 where he's had a chance to qualify.
Yes.
Now look at the contrast. Here's Joey Logano. He has nothing on his windshield. He's clean. And Harvick's
going to tough it out.
Harvick's got his all the way down to the dash.
Well, and if it works, everybody will.
Well, I'm going to say, if somebody sees that, they'll run and say, do mine like his.
Round 1, fastest 24. Move on. Spots 25 to 43 are set, and 2 drivers go home. Round 2, half that group will advance to the final round, where we will set the first 12 spots. Chris Neville?
Well, and Denny Hamlin making his way down to the 11 car. Denny, you were second quick in practice earlier, and you've really got qualifying figured out at this place. 2 poles in the last 3 times you've been here.
Well, thanks for jinxing us. I appreciate that. But, no, it's just something, with my style of driving that seems to fit this racetrack pretty well. And the more it ages, it seems like the better off we get. I just love these old gritty racetracks like California where you can run from the wall to the apron. So as drivers, we love it. Looking forward to this qualifying run with our Sport Clips Camry. And hopefully Dave made some good adjustments, and we'll find ourselves in the final round with a shot at it.
And Denny Hamlin looking for his first pole in 2015. Mike?
Thanks, Chris. Jimmy Johnson and Tony Stewart talking things over as we get ready for our 15-minute round 1 of Sprint Cup qualifying.
Smoke says, why don't I just wear sunglasses?
Now here's Brian Vickers, number 55. Brian came out here to California intending to drive that car in the race and participate in tomorrow's DriveForClots.com 300, part of the Janssen Pharmaceuticals initiative. But Brian Vickers is not in that race car, and here's what he tweeted. Thanks for the outpouring of support, which means a lot. He won't be able to race because he is back on a blood thinner for blood clots, following doctor's orders, and do everything I need to do to get well. Brian is out here in California, and certainly we wish him the best and a speedy return. Once again, Michael Waltrip Racing has tapped Brett Moffitt to drive the number 55. He had been driving the number 34 for Front Row Motorsports because David Reagan is on loan to the Joe Gibbs team in relief of Kyle Busch as Kyle recuperates. So Front Row Motorsports went to the pool of Roush Fenway Xfinity drivers and grabbed Chris Buescher to drive the 34 here.
I think it's a great little choice right there.
So those are the changes here. And we listened in on Casey Kane's team, having a look at all those flags rustling in the infield.
There is a little bit more wind. I don't know if it'll maybe getting in the one at all four. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, it's kind of gusty. It's definitely probably a little bit of a tailwind down the front, looking at the flags.
That's spotter Kevin Hamlin talking to Casey Kane. Kevin, a race car driver from the past as well.
Well, we've seen over 200-mile-an-hour corner entry speeds into turn one. I think with this tailwind they're going to have, it's going to be up in the high to mid 200s, probably 205 getting into turn one.
Miss Coors Light waves the green flag, and here they go.
Matt Kenseth, he must have had his foot on the clutch and the throttle. I mean, he jumped out there, that 20 car.
I think that's rather orderly.
I mean, it's pretty important at this size track, Daryl, to kind of have some space between you.
Yeah, I think so. Look, you're not going to get a lot of draft off the car in front of you, but if we've seen it in the race here, you come off turn four and you can get a run on a guy, and you can get a pull up to the back of him going into turn one. If you could time that out right, you might be able to get a teeny bit of help.
How many laps will they run?
Well, I think one. What I think.
Yeah, we see the tires give up pretty quick, so you want to do it, which makes turn four very important coming to start your lap.
Yeah, I think, Mike, you'll want to run one lap and make it a good lap, and that way you know that you'll transfer. That's all you're looking for right here, right now. Not a new track record necessarily, although we may see one, but you want to be sure and transfer.
And as we heard earlier, not use up those tires.
Right.
You hope you need them for the next 2 rounds.
Just try to get a nice solid lap in here. Don't abuse anything.
Yeah, I found it interesting that a couple of drivers we talked to during practice said, you know, we don't want to downplay round one, but you just want to make sure you run fast enough to be in the top 24.
That's it. That's it.
Matt Kenseth. First car on the clock, 38.79. Now that's half a second off the track record. Denny Hamlin, Austin Dillon, Brian Scott in that order.
A couple of tenths slower than what Kurt Busch ran in that opening session. He was a 38.55, I think it was. So a couple of tenths off of that. But that's still a nice lap.
That's a half a second faster than Matt Kenseth ran in practice earlier.
Paul Menard to third with a 39.26.
Track record is a 38.248. Set in 2005, believe it or not, by Kyle Busch.
10 years ago.
Kevin Harvick, 38.9. He goes the second quickest in that 4 car. So the next thing you'll see is everybody on pit road taping up their windshields.
I think you're right.
I just want to know where he ran more than anything.
Kyle Larson third, 39.03.
Another nice lap.
Oh, Ricky Stenhouse, hang on there.
Stepped out just a skosh. That might hurt the speed a little wee bit. Somebody asked me what's a skosh. I said, I don't have any idea. I just know it's a teeny weeny little bit.
Kurt Busch on the clock, fastest in practice. This is Trevor Bayne.
You see Kurt Busch there in the 41 car right now, tracking in the red as far as Matt Kenseth's time.
Matt Kenseth was the first driver to complete a lap and take time. Why is there such an advantage here to being first?
Well, you get out there and you get your lap, then you get back to pit road and cool things down and get ready for the next go-round.
But, I mean, why is he quickest? He was first. Kurt Busch had the fastest lap of practice. He was one of the first to post a lap. Things slowed down from there.
No pressure. No pressure.
Now, Kurt Busch did in a third quickest. He actually went to green from getting into 3 to the middle of 3 and 4, and then it went back to red for his 41 car.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. 6th, 39.21.
And quite honestly, Mike, I'm serious. When you're sitting there on pit road when we did single car qualifying and somebody put up a really fast lap and you said, oh, man, now I got to go out there and try to beat that. And there was pressure to go do that. Now there's no pressure. You mess up this lap, come in, work on it, go out and run another one.
David Reagan 4th, Carl Edwards 10th.
And remember, going back to the top of the show, that's the first lap Carl Edwards has made in that backup car, that 19 car.
And also remember, they said, you cannot wreck this one.
Joey Logano 9th. I don't get it, Darrell, and I know that's what separates championship-level drivers from us mere mortals. But to climb in a car you've not driven, tighten up those belts, and go out there and go off into that corner at 205 miles an hour, that takes a very special kind of athlete.
Well, that means that he has, first of all, he trusts his team. They put the car together, and he knows he's in good hands. And then the confidence that he has as a driver, he knows he made a mistake down here off turn 4, but he puts that out of his mind and goes and does what he has to do now, which is put down a pretty fast, safe lap.
That's pretty awesome.
It's all confidence. It's like a putt. You know, if you think you're going to miss a 3-foot putt, you're probably going to miss a lot of them. But, the pros don't miss them.
Clint Boyer, 203 miles an hour off into turn number 1. Here's David Gilliland.
You could tell they had a lot of tape on the nose of David Gilliland's car. Was starting to spit some water out at the base of the right side of the windshield.
Casey Kane 10th, 39.37. Brad Keselowski 7th. And he's the fastest Ford as he was in practice, 39.13.
These engines, though, man, they are just laboring away. The drivers are just staying in the throttle.
Clint Boyer 15th.
We've had 27 of our 45 drivers here lay down a time, and just a quick snapshot. Looks like to me if you can run in a 39.0s, 39.10s, you're probably going to be safe to move on to the next round.
Yep, I agree with that.
Brett Moffitt was 18th with his run in Brian Vickers' car. Here's Jeff Gordon.
Now he's tracking about a 10th off of Matt Kenseth, who's still at the top of the sheet. Boy, it really went south through turn 3 and 4 big time for Jeff Gordon. This is not going to be a good lap for him.
And the car didn't look good getting off 4 either. It looked like it was pushing up the hill with him quite a bit.
11th for Gordon, still safe for round 1.
Yeah, and the beautiful part about this kind of qualifying is you can adjust on it and not maybe in this session run another lap, but you get another shot at it. That's what I kind of like.
All right, 24th is Jeb Burton. That is the bump spot. So on the left now, all times will be compared to whoever is in 24th place.
This is going to be a heck of a lap that Ryan Newman's laying, because he's pushing toward 3.5 tenths quicker than Kenseth. You can see all 4 of the drivers right now in the green. But this is going to be
It's gaining, but he lost. He's gaining.
All right, this is actually off the 24th position, not off the pole. I'm sorry. Still a good lap for Newman, though. 10th quickest, 39.29.
Tony Stewart, 19th, 39.55. That knocks out Brian Scott. It moves Biffle to the bubble. Biffle's out. Almirola to the bubble as Truex clocks in 19th, Hornish 16th, and that moves Allgaier to the bubble. J.J. Yaley, 31st. Here is Travis Kvapil, who struggled to find speed.
Larry, we were looking at that.
Boy, you and I both were gasping for breath.
Man, this is going to shatter the track record, didn't it? Oh, yeah, by the way.
It's like, man, did all of a sudden this track picked up? It's gained some speed.
I told you when the sun went down, it's going to get hot. I mean, get fast. When the sun goes down, it get hot. No, it's going to get fast. The sun goes down, it gets cool.
That's right.
Gets fast. I got this. Don't worry.
Well, you may have it, but Travis Quapple doesn't. He had his hands full coming through 3 and 4. That car was doing all kinds of tricks.
Well, they found a bit of speed. They're 30th, 40-43. And this is Josh Wise in the Phil Parsons racing car. Mike Curb is listed as the owner of that car. Remember, way back, Richard Petty's last career wins came under Curb ownership, so that decal's on the 98.
And former lieutenant governor.
That's right. Everybody trying to knock off Justin Allgaier in 24th spot. Curb Records actually is what is carried on the car this week.
The only one tracking green right now with not a lot of cushion is Michael Annette in that 46 car. He's got about a 10th in the bank.
6 minutes to go. Josh Wise, 29th. Should be enough to make the show, but not enough to transfer. Michael Annette did it, 22nd. That knocks out Allgaier and puts Brett Moffitt on the bubble as Cole Witt.
Boy, Cole's he's working that wheel coming off turn 4, trying to stay in the throttle.
28th for Cole Witt, 39.87. The bump is 39.67, so 0.2 off. Chris Buescher, 29th, 39.88. And that's within 100th of what his teammate Cole Witt ran, so good run for Buescher.
Yeah, it looks like Jimmy Johnson and his 48 team, Chad Canals, they had a little bit of a plan. They wanted to let this session get on into it as we have about 5 minutes to go. They waited a little bit before they made their run here.
But he likes to go out there by himself. He just doesn't like other people on the track when he's out there.
6 drivers have yet to post a qualifying speed, including Jimmy Johnson. Now he gets going off the corner.
Well, he had the thing up high in the turn down there. Yep. Mike, that's going to give him a nice straightaway speed down the back there. Even though he's buffing a little headwind, still getting a nice run down the back off of turn 2.
So if this bumps Brett Moffitt, it'll move Ricky Stenhouse onto the bubble. Ooh, little sparks there.
Yeah, I think the side skirts and the left front of the splitter were hitting the track. Saw that a little bit down the back.
He's going to run into O's or teens.
Did you see all that white dust fly out from under it when he came to the line here? He's one of the few guys I've seen cut down on the apron.
7th for Johnson. That moves Stenhouse onto the bubble, and ahead of him is Michael Annette, and ahead of him is Tony Stewart. Then Danica Patrick. That's Casey Mears. Completes his run. It's going to be right around that top dozen.
Another driver that's not been out there that showed some speed in practice, Jamie McMurray in that one car. I think he's about ready.
Excuse me. Casey Mears, 35th. That was a disappointment. Four drivers have yet to take time, and some others may go out a second time here as we have 4 minutes to go. It takes about 48 seconds for a car to leave pit road, come around, and begin the timed lap.
I'll tell you another car, the 78 car, Martin Truex, his lap of a 39.46, he went a 38.88 in practice. He was third quick, so not sure what's going on with some of these cars. Allmendinger's another one.
But Darrell, it just makes me wonder. I go back to what we talked about earlier. Did some of them just go a little conservative on this first round? Make sure don't get the engine too hot, and let's just try to get the top 24.
So 3 drivers have yet to run. Brendan Gaughan and Jamie McMurray are 2 of the 3. And Gaughan is headed out there along with some of the drivers who are not presently in the top 24. Trying to improve.
Right now, McMurray is not looking very good.
No,
that's starting to come back the right direction, but
Alex Bowman might.
Way tight. I don't know.
Did it. He moved to the bubble. 39.64 to Stenhouse's 67. Here's Alex Bowman. Looked like Bowman was going to be the showman, but now the clock's going the other way for the young driver from Tucson. And Bowman clocks in 26th. Matt DiBenedetto, second run.
Yeah, what we're starting to see now are drivers that need to improve their time to try to make this show. And then there's some drivers that's outside the top 24. Why not make another run?
DiBenedetto slowed down on that second lap.
Haven't seen, I mean, based on what we saw in practice, that the second time out on tires has always been about 2 or 3 tenths slower what we saw in practice.
Mike Bliss making a run, 2 minutes to go. Reed Sorensen and Greg Biffle, who is currently 27th.
And Reed Sorensen in that 29, he's one of those drivers he will have to pick up if he wants to race here on Sunday.
Now, Biffle got into the wall in practice, but they fixed that pretty quickly. Here is Gilliland. He is slowest right now with a 41.04, and Brian Scott 33rd on a run. Michael Annett still on the bubble, 39.58. Eric Almirola picked up. He's now 23rd.
Mike, Darrell, I just get a feeling that this racetrack has changed substantially for these drivers in the 3.5 hours since they came off of it for practice earlier.
Larry, it always does. I mean, I told you about the sand and the dirt and all on that. That's when the track's actually at its fastest. And then you start adjusting your car as the track rubbers up, and it gets a little too tight, gets a little too loose, and that's what you find.
Brian Scott picks up to 25th, 1 spot away. And here's Stenhouse trying to rebound from 27th. Looks like he may.
The other thing, Larry, is with this engine combination, you have got to stay in the throttle. If you just don't have the acceleration that you'd like to have when we had another 150 horsepower. So momentum is huge. If the car steps out a little bit or you have to squeeze out of the throttle a little bit, it kills your lap time.
Well, as far as drivers qualifying on speed, the bottom 5 are Cole Witt, Chris Buescher, Jeb Burton, Josh Wise, and Trevor Bayne. They are in. That is back to 36th position. So they wouldn't have to fall back on a provision.
Flat spot at the right side.
Flags are out. And Brett Moffitt.
Has that car been in the wall?
Looks like it. That right side looked odd.
Yeah, it looked like it had. Looked like the tires had all the Goodyear rubbed off of them.
Chris Buescher, Landon Castle finishing up here because the flag means you get to come by the flag once. That's what Buescher did. And he is 33rd. He was a little slower on that lap.
Let's see if the 55. I know he's been in the wall. I don't know how hard it was.
Here it is, Darrell.
There you go. He's coming up on the back straightaway. No.
Oh.
Yeah, it's coming up off turn 4.
Coming off turn 4. Yeah, I see it now. Got down on the apron. The car starts to push. Tries to get out of it. Can't get out of it quick enough.
So Moffitt is 30th and will lock in that position. Round 1 is complete. 24 drivers move on to round 2. And we'll have a look at the drivers who have locked in positions 25 to 43, and they include Brett Moffitt with a good bit of right side damage to his car. For Brian Scott on back.
One pattern I see here, all 3 of the Roush Fenway Ford drivers outside the top 24. You see them right here on the screen. Stenhouse, Biffle, and Bayne.
Now Travis Kvapil, 40th fastest. Only the top 36 lock in on time. So 2 drivers, Kvapil and Sorensen, again this week fail to qualify. Chris Neville.
Well, Greg Biffle will not be moving on to round 2. And Greg, I know it's been a challenging day, but what do you guys need to focus on tomorrow to get a little bit more speed out of the 16?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a challenging year and a half for us. And, you know, it's no different this weekend than normal. All of our cars are, you know, I think our best car there's 26th or 7th. So that's just unacceptable for how good of a team we are and how hard everybody works back at the shop and our engines. We just got to figure this out. You know, we're dying a slow death, and we just got to work hard and figure out where the speed's at and get the cars trimmed out. But, you know, show up closer when we do for the weekend is a main thing we got to work on. Seems like we're getting speed in. The very last run was our best run, but just not quite fast enough yet.
And Jamie McMurray qualified 26th. It seems like 1 and 2 was the surprise for most. Was that the case with you?
Yeah, we struggled with being loose most of our qualifying runs in practice, and
didn't make that many changes. So when I came to the green in 3 and 4, I was a little bit loose, kind of expected. And we have this track bar adjuster now, so I adjusted the track bar kind of based on what I had in 3 and 4, and then 1 and 2 was just extremely tight. So I boarded our first run, came in, we worked on the car, and just really couldn't get any better. 1 and 2 is just extremely tight. And the corners are so long here, and it's so slick that when you miss it a little bit on entry, you suffer for about 30 seconds, it feels like, before you can get to the next straightaway and try to recover. So not what we wanted, but we got a few things to try tomorrow, and we'll work on it. Fortunately, it's at a track that you can't pass at, really wide, and if you have a good car, you can get to the front.
And the silver lining, you started 25th last year, and he finished 6th. So he said you can pass here, Mike. That's a good thing.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Jamie and Jamie. Round 2 coming up. Welcome back to Fontana, California, Auto Club Speedway, where Matt Kenseth is fastest in round 1 of this 3-round qualifying. Here are the drivers that move on.
Good first round run for David Reagan in that 18 car.
Kyle Larson up there, Paul Menard.
And we saw David lead this first session last week, so yeah, he's right there.
So these 24 move on. Nice job by Michael Annett. Here's Chris Neville.
Well, Brett Moffitt subbing for Brian Vickers this weekend. Brett, not going to be moving on to round 2 there, and you got into the wall a little bit with the car. Is the 55 going to be okay?
I don't know yet. They're looking at it now, so we'll see. Just struggling here. We need some speed. We need to find some speed. So hopefully we'll be able to fix this one and go to work on it tomorrow.
Been a tough 24 hours for Brett Moffitt. About 4 a.m. this morning, he was told he would need to be here to drive this number 55 in place of Brian Vickers, sidelined once again with a blood clot issue. And the track is open for round 2.
Clear high, 1 inside, all clear. All the way to the blend line.
And again, Matt Kenseth wants to get out there first.
Yeah, these 24 drivers that are moving on, all of them only have 1 lap on their tires, with the exception of Eric Almirola in the 43 that has 3 laps.
Austin Dillon right out there with Kenseth to log a lap early.
And that's pretty much the way they left pit road the first round.
Well, that's a pretty steamy lap that this car right here put up in that first section. 70, what was it, 8, I think it was.
79, yeah.
79. That's pretty fast.
And I like Dillon's strategy. He was 15th in the first round, so being kind of on the bubble of advancing to round 3, getting out there early in case he has to come in and cool down and make another run.
Well, I like where he is. Yep. You're not going to get a lot of help, but you could get a little help from the car in front of you. You can pick up a slight draft here.
And he's far enough back, and you could see he actually ran a different groove through turn 1 and 2. He's far enough back that it shouldn't affect the handling of that car as far as making it not turn in the corner.
He's getting minimal help, but he can get a little bit of help down these long straightaways.
So Matt Kenseth once again will be first on the clock. Will he be first on the scoreboard? He will for a little bit.
I mean, the lap looked clean, and he got down on the apron coming to the line here.
39.10 to a 38.78 in the first round. Hamlin is faster, 39 flat. Allmendinger third.
Shut it down.
Shut it down.
So Hamlin actually picked up a little bit from what he ran in that first round.
Paul Menard now third. And Kurt Busch to the top of the chart, 38.91.
There you go.
Busch ran a 97 in round 1. Here's Kevin Harvick. Third, 39.08.
I think what we're seeing is exactly what we thought, Mike. Larry, is some of these guys didn't absolutely push it to the max in the first session to get to this session, Kurt Busch being one of them.
But I do find it interesting, the fastest 2 drivers from round 1, they actually slowed down in this round on their lap.
Used them up.
Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick.
Kyle Larson clocks in 5th, 39.19. Here's Brad Keselowski. Right now it's Chevy, Toyota, but only 9 drivers have run in this second round.
Boy, it's just a different to see these guys run high in 1 and 2, and of course, and they normally dive it to the bottom over here in turn 3. We'll see what Brad does, but to run up here where you see these cars running right now, high in 1 and 2, missing all the bumps down low and getting a well of a run down the back straightaway. Brad did that. He was high in 1 and 2, low in 3 and 4. in the 2 car here. See what he gets.
4th for Keselowski, 39.08. Here's Carl Edwards trying to advance. Looks like Carl will be down around, well, 8th for Edwards, 39.34. Dale Earnhardt Jr., 9th, 39.37. And this is David Reagan.
That puts 4 drivers in the 30s. I don't know if I feel comfortable with those 39.30s right now.
Don't think so, Larry, especially when Reagan knocks off a 39.02.
Great run for him.
And Danica Patrick, 39.53. So Allmendinger is the bubble car right now as Joey Logano is in 9th.
Been a while since we saw a couple of Toyotas up there in the top 5. Denny Hamlin and David Reagan both up there. Kansas 6th, so good job of the Gibbs group this week.
Yeah, actually all 4 of the Joe Gibbs Toyota drivers are in the top 10 right now. The only one I feel a little bit moving on to the top 12 right now would be Carl Edwards, who's 10th.
All right, so 15 drivers have run. That puts Allmendinger on the bubble as Jeff Gordon makes his run. And the Exalta Chevrolet.
Now that we've had 15 drivers, when you look at the tracker now, that will be to the 12th driver, the 12th place driver. You see right there, Allmendinger.
204 for the 24 car into turn 1, a 204 top speed.
So green light here means a driver will move into the top 12 and knock out A.J. Allmendinger.
Right now, Jeff Gordon's looking in great shape to be able to do that. 4 tenths in the bank.
9 drivers to go, including Gordon. He's in handily 3rd, 39.01. Strong lap. Ryan Newman.
This car looks pretty good. How Newman do?
That moved Earnhardt to the bubble, and he gets knocked out by Newman, who is 8th. Boyer now 9th. That puts Logano on the bubble. Here's Truex, 11th. That knocks out Logano and moves Menard to the bubble.
Jimmy Johnson is not looking very good on getting to the top dozen with this 48 car. Right now, 14th quickest.
And Sam Hornish clocks in 16th.
And this is a situation now. You've run 2 laps on your tires. There's 4 minutes to go. You've got what you've got right now.
All right, 3 drivers, including Michael Annett, left to make their first qualifying pass in round 2. And there's Annett in the Cypress Chevrolet.
And to our point earlier, right now, Menard is 12th at the 39.25. Logano is out at a 39.27.
Waiting for Tony Stewart and Eric Almirola to make their runs. Michael Annett, 22nd, 39.91. And here is Stewart, the Rush Truck Center's Chevrolet.
Been watching these guys go off into turn 1, and the fastest speed I've seen so far has been around a 204. That was Jeff Gordon. There's a 205 right there by Tony Stewart into turn 1. 205.
And Stewart's flirting with it. Went from green to red there.
Didn't get off the corner very good. And that hurts him all the way down that long back straightaway.
Plus, he's pushing that headwind down the back, too. You don't get off the 2 very well, and then you got a headwind. It's really going to double. It's a double whammy.
So after Stewart, the only driver who has not made a run is Eric Almirola, who, as Larry pointed out, has 3 laps on his tires from round 1. So this run by Stewart will not advance him. He is 20th, and Paul Menard hangs on to the hot seat against Eric Almirola and anybody who chooses to make a second run.
Well, and I see Austin Dillon in the 3 down there, and Austin knows probably another run will not get him to the top 12, but it may move him up a little bit from 21st.
That's what you got to look at now. You know, if you're interested at all in moving up in the field a little bit. Larry, pretty much average speed into turn 1 has been 204. I've seen a couple of 205s. Tony Stewart did one. But last year, I don't know if you remember or not, but we were seeing speeds around 208 to 210 miles an hour.
Absolutely.
Corner entry.
Absolutely.
So that's where they really have knocked speed out of these cars, is at the end of these straightaways.
And that's the reduction in the size of that rear spoiler, 2 inches shorter than last year.
Boy, Almirola had a shot going off into the corner, but did not get through the corner all that well. And this lap will not be quick enough to advance. He is 23rd. Now, Austin Dillon, if he can pick up 2/10, he wouldn't advance, but he'd move 6 spots up the starting grid for tomorrow.
Yeah, that's his game plan here, just trying to get up further in the field. Nice, great idea, I think. Go out there and give it a try anyway.
Darryl, look though, just look how bad it's fallen off. I mean, it did not get through 1 and 2 at all.
It's not working, but it was a really good idea.
His 2 teammates, though, right now, Ryan Newman in the 31, Paul Menard in the 27, they're in the top 12.
No.
A.J. Allmendinger is 18th right now with a 39. He would need a 10th and a half pickup to make the top dozen, and Austin Dillon is half a second slower on this lap. Here's Carl Edwards. Edwards would need to pick up 1/10 of a second from his prior run.
Yeah, he's at a 34 right now. He needs to get up to a 24.
And you know, Mike, I think one reason that Eric Almirola in that 43 car, they waited. Remember, they made 2 runs in that first round.
Carl's trying.
Yep, so a little more cool down time for Almirola before that last run. Joey Logano also on track and hopeful of moving up. 39:25 is the time to beat. That's Paul Menard, who is in 12th right now.
But Darryl, you're spot on. We see some drivers in the green, and the minute they make that turn off turn 2 onto that backstretch, it goes to red.
Oh, yeah, you're getting a nice free push down the front here with a tailwind, but when you head off at turn 2 over there, and if you don't get off there perfect, you got a headwind on top of that, it's going to really have a big effect on your lap.
Edwards equaled his lap from before, but that does not move him up. Logano 3/10 slower. And Danica Patrick a 10th off. Dale Earnhardt Jr., presently 17th, shuts it down, and time expires.
Right now, the only Hendrick Chevrolet driver to get in the top 12 is Jeff Gordon in that 24 car. Here's Casey Kane in the 5.
He's completing his lap. Needs to find a 10th there.
Gonna have to find it in a hurry.
Yes,
moving the wrong direction.
So Kane completes his run, and he's a little bit slower. So 12 drivers move on. Here's Jamie.
And Jimmy Johnson will start 14th. You ran the apron here in qualifying, something we didn't see in practice. How much did that affect your run?
It didn't hurt us. I mean, it was good to get down there, I think. And you're just trying to guess. We only had, I think, 3 hot laps in practice to know where our Pro Services low Chevy would be. So you don't get a lot of chances to try stuff. And unfortunately, in practice, I didn't try the apron. I tried it there in those 2 laps in qualifying. It worked well. I think I had my hardest time was down to 1 and 2, just getting the car to turn. The wind to our backs really made the car tight for me through the center and trying to turn back through the wind. So a little disappointed with 14th, but, you know, we'll take it. And just a big, real fast, just want to back up a second, give a big shout out to all the pros that shop at Lowe's. And Lowe's is saying thank you to all of them, putting them on the side of the race car, and we hope to give them a good ride today.
All right, they're looking for Jimmy Johnson to bring win number 6 home on Sunday, Mike.
Thanks, Jamie. When we come back, we'll look at positions 13 through 24. From round number 2, these positions are set for Sunday's Auto Club 400. First time since Talladega last October that Joey Logano has missed a final round. He's in good company, though. A lot of potential race winners in that group. Chris Neville.
And Joey Logano not transferring to the final round here. Joey, you've been so strong in qualifying the last year and a half. What did you need the 22 to do better?
We just haven't been very fast with our Auto Club Fusion here. We just need to... Since we unloaded, we weren't very good, and we keep trying to fix it. And we make small improvements, but none big as we need. And just trying. The last run is just a last resort, and you try everything you can do as a driver, as a team. We're just trying to adjust on it and try to figure it out. So we got 2 practices tomorrow to figure it out. Unfortunately, we don't get to participate in the last run, but we'll fix it.
Thanks, Joey.
Now here in Toyota's backyard, Joe Gibbs Racing puts 3 cars in the top 12 and Michael Waltrip Racing 1. So that's a pretty balanced group right there. Toyotas and Chevrolets. 1 Ford, Brad Keselowski.
And all 12 of these drivers, they made 1 run in round 1, 1 run in round 2, all of them 2 laps on their tires.
So we're getting ready for the final round to see who wins the pole. It's
It's not going to go away, Danny. It's there for a while.
Not going to get cloud.
Anybody see a cloud?
Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas have won the last 3 poles at Auto Club Speedway. Will one of Carl Edwards' new teammates get it done today? We're about to find out. Here's Chris Neville.
And Carl Edwards going to have to start 15th on Sunday. And Carl, you had to do that in a backup car there. Is that just you need some more time working with that car?
I thought we'd be starting 43rd after I hit the fence. So this is not, this is a small victory for us. We got more of the field behind us than in front of us. My subway guys are amazing. To get in the car, stone cold and just go out there and be able to be 16th quick the first round and put it up in the top half of the field. It's like Darian said, this will give us a good starting spot. And hopefully we can get subway up front. It's a testament to my guys. They worked really hard today.
Yeah, lots of commitment, too, on his part. Jamie?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. will start 17th. Where did you need to be a little bit better to make the third round?
1 and 2. I think we were running that third groove all day today, and in between when we practiced and when we went in qualifying, that Nationwide cars really put a lot of rubber down. Got the track too tight, I guess, or tightened up the track quite a bit. I went down there, just the car wouldn't turn through the center, and you run that high groove to get that momentum. We really couldn't capitalize on that momentum off of turn 2. I think 3 and 4 was decent. I don't really know. We'll go back and look at the Dartfish, but was real happy with the car in race trim and in qualifying trim today. Just a little disappointed, which I think we got a better car than this.
All right, happy with the race car, and it's a brand new one, by the way, Mike.
Thanks, Jamie. Dale has a new dog. Its name is Gus, and the dog has a blog. Follow NASCAR Chasm on Twitter for more. It is pretty hilarious.
Did you just see that, though? Denny Hamlin tried to beat Matt Kenseth as the first driver on pit road, but Matt was ready just like he was the first 2 rounds.
Matt is on it today. He wants to be the first one out.
Well, that has worked pretty well for him.
It has. I like it.
First in the first round, 7th in the second round. Kurt Busch fastest in round 2.
It's going to be a pretty good battle here.
Daryl, he don't want to tell us about it, but Mike Joy has a new dog, too.
I do not.
I tell you.
My daughter has a new, what is this thing? Not a snickerdoodle.
Yeah.
Not a labradoodle. A golden doodle. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Angel. That's
it's a doodle.
That's Caitlin's dog. Enough. It is keeping all of us up nice. Nice little 8-week-old puppy. And here comes Kenseth.
You know, I'm seeing this in this round, and we saw a little bit of it in the second round. As they get more laps on their tires, they're starting to actually move around where they run the race cars, as far as on the bottom or in the middle of the racetrack.
Yeah, I just think the hot tip is what I've seen all the qualifying runs here is kind of through the middle of 1 and 2. And then try to get, down on the apron if you can, get into 3 and run the bottom off of 3 and 4. That's what's worked pretty good so far.
Well, there's the lap to beat, 38.92. Denny Hamlin, 39.08. Not going to do it. How about David Reagan?
How about Kurt
Busch, 38.88.
That's a heck of a good lap on the third time out on your tires. That's a heck of a good lap.
That's a real good lap for Kurt.
David Reagan is going to be close. And he is third, 38.94.
Right behind his teammate, 38.92 on Kenseth, 38.94 on Reagan. And Hamlin right there at a 38.0.
And Clint Boyer, 39.0.
I'm sorry. Boyer.
Kevin Harvick.
See, Daryl, he's fairly up to the top of the racetrack through 1 and 2. Just about a half a lane off the wall.
Well, he and his spotter, Tim Fedewa, talked about that before this run, comparing Harvick's line to Kurt Busch's.
Right now, if he can get through 3 and 4, it didn't really get in the corner like he was wanting it, and now it's starting to really go the wrong way. Coming back a little bit.
It's going to be close. Mighty close.
Second, 38.90 for Harvick.
Mighty close.
2 100s. Came back late exit of turn 4.
It did.
That headwind hurt him getting into 3, looked like. Something did. It was a little slow into 3. Other than that, he was perfect.
Brad Keselowski in the Worth Ford is 6th, 39.11. And here's Kyle Larson. Kyle's
had a pretty eventful day. Xfinity Series car got torn up, had to get his backup car out. for tomorrow's race, but looking pretty good for today, for the qualifying this afternoon in the Sprint Cup car.
Yeah, somebody blew an engine in front of him, and he got into the wall and tore it up. He is 5th, 39.05, coming off a second-place finish here last year.
Martin Truex Jr., the 78 car just continues to have speed week after week.
Not all that sporty on this run, however.
No, he didn't look good in 3 and 4 that time. Looked like the back was kind of coming in and out with him.
Yep, 9th for the Furniture Row Chevy. Here's the Exalta Chevy for Jeff Gordon. Coming to green. 3 drivers left to make their first run. And they're all out on the track, and they'd better be. Nobody else going to get a shot here.
You've got Gordon, you've got Newman, you have Paul Menard in the 27 car. All 3 drivers out there right now with just about a half a minute to go.
I think Newman, I'll tell you, that car has gotten better and better and better. Ever since they finished second last year in the championship, second at Homestead, I've been pretty impressed with what he and Luke Lambert have been putting together this year.
Right now, though, all 3 of those drivers we spoke about, they're tracking red as far as to Kurt Busch.
Losing time.
Gordon's going to have to hustle for top 5. Not quite. 7th, 39.11. And here's Newman. He is 9th at a 39.18. And Menard will be the last driver to clock in. He's going to be right around 10th. Make that 11. 39.26. Kurt Busch coming off a top 5 finish in his first race back from suspension for Stewart-Haas.
I'll tell you about it, guys. Thank you, John.
Wins the pole.
Look, we saw this. We knew he and Tony Gibson. We knew that was a good combination when we saw them get together at the end of last year. We saw great speed out of that car at the end of last year, and man, they got it back.
There's Gibson with a headset congratulating his crew. Chris.
Yeah, and Kurt Busch getting his 4th pole here at Auto Club Speedway. Kurt, what a great effort here today. You've been happy with the car all day long. How important is this with Haas Automation right down the road?
This is huge for Gene Haas, and that's what I wanted to start the interview with is thank you, Gene, for believing in me. This is my job. Come to the track, drive the car, and put it up on the pole and go for wins. I mean, that's what Gene's told me to do from the get-go, and I'm glad I have this chance to go back out there and live up to why he hired me. So it feels good. The guys were just spot on all day with all the adjustments. The car started off so fast, and it's all due to the work back at the shop. So thank you, Stewart-Haas Racing. Appreciate it. 41 car up front feels good.
One of the fastest cars in Phoenix last week and carrying that momentum here. Mike?
Thanks, Chris. Here's today's Can-Am Ride of the Day. It wasn't the fastest lap of the day, but it was the fastest when it counted. In round number 3, Kurt Busch wins the pole for Sunday's race in Fontana and shares the front row with teammate Kevin Harvick.
Well, he had the fastest practice lap, just a little off the track record, and he backed it up with the pole. So, like he said, she's been good every day, ever since they unloaded. By the way, I want to say happy birthday to Deanna Principe. She runs Artie's golf tournament. Happy birthday, Deanna.
Right, more from Fontana after this. This is the second ever front row sweep for Stewart-Haas Racing. The first one was July of 2011. Tony Stewart and Ryan Newman started and finished 1-2. So here are Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick on the front row for Sunday's race on Fox. Here is Jamie Little with the sweeper, maybe.
Well, it's not the pole, but it is the best start for Kevin Harvick here at California Speedway. First time starting on the front row here. Did you have a little bit left in there?
Yeah, just really proud of everybody on our Jimmy John's Budweiser team, and want to congratulate Kurtz and everybody on the 41 and everybody at SHR, Hendrick Engines and Chassis for everything that they do for all these cars. But yeah, I got down into turn 3 and I was committed to the bottom, and there was 3 cars on the apron that were cooling off, and I wanted to run the apron because I ran it in the second round and thought that I knew what I needed to do in the third round. But I got through 1 and 2 fairly good, got to the green really good, and then I had to abort down here. So all in all, it's still a good effort.
All right, Kevin Harvick going for the West Coast sweep.
And we saw that. You know, we wondered why he seemed a little bit off getting into 3. Well, he saw those cars on the apron and he couldn't get down to where he wanted to get. So maybe it's the difference.
A lot of Joe Gibbs Toyota drivers there. They swept the second row. David Reagan's best start by far in 2015, and then Denny Hamlin back on row 3.
Yeah, well, how about the Stewart-Haas guys? This is kind of a home game for them.
Yep.
And then the Toyota guys is a home game for them, and they're all right at the front.
A couple of drivers we didn't really expect to see out of the top 12, I think, when qualifying started. Joey Logano and Jimmy Johnson just outside.
Nice run by Michael and then.
Yeah, good job making the top 24 there.
Sure, very good job.
Harry Scott's to now two-car team.
There's another surprise, which we interviewed him, and he talked about how different his car drove from practice. Jamie McMurray in that one outside the top 24.
Brett Moffitt back there on outside of row 15. They got some work to do. They got some body damage you're going to have to take care of.
So Trevor Bayne is the last driver to qualify on time from Casey Mears on back. These are the provisional starters.
Saw Chris Boucher there. Not even sure 12 hours ago he even knew he was going to be driving a Sprint Cup Series car here at Auto Club Speedway.
No, that's true. David Reagan qualifies 4th. Here's Chris.
Well, David Reagan going to be starting 4th in the 18 car, still subbing for Kyle Busch, and Kyle won here the last 2 years. Did you talk to Kyle at all this week?
Yeah, I did. I actually talked to him this morning, and Kyle's a smart racer, and he can give me a little insight. And I don't know that he would give me all this insight if this was potentially a chase track. But, yeah, thanks to Kyle and everybody on the Interstate Batteries team. Everyone's worked really hard to try to keep some speed. And after struggling a little bit the last couple of weeks, it's great to be in Toyota's backyard and have some of the Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas up front. So, yeah, I feel like we got a good race car. That was a good lap for us, and we'll get ready and work on it some tomorrow during practice.
David Reagan making steady progress with this 18 car.
And Kyle Larson will start 5th, his best effort here at California Speedway. And you guys weren't that good in practice. How much work did they have to put into this car to qualify in the top 5?
Yeah, I'm really proud of all my target guys because, we unloaded really bad, I thought. And both me and Jamie were pretty bad. And, we got our car driving, pretty good there in qualifying. I was surprised because the first run, I've been practicing on the bottom at both ends. And I was too close to the guys that had shut down, after they finished their lap. So they were coasting around the bottom. I had to run the top and in 1 and 2, and it ended up working out for me. So I just stuck with it the rest of the rounds and was 10th the second round and watched a little video, of myself and figure out where I was losing time and made it better for the third round. Got to 5th. So pretty proud of that and proud of, like I said, how our team made our car way better there for qualifying. Still got, I'm sure, some work to do for our race trim, but that's a great start to our weekend.
Could be the dark horse. Watch for Kyle Larson on Sunday. Chris?
Matt Kenseth started on pole last year. Matt, you're going to start 3rd this year. The quickest of the Toyotas, obviously something important here in Southern California.
Yeah, I mean, I really like this track. Obviously, with Toyota's headquarters being out here and stuff, it's fun to come out and race. And you want to do well. You want to do well every week. But we had a really good $12 General Camry. I just missed lap 2, and I sort of missed lap 3 too. I kind of got most of it, but I didn't get all of it. So I feel bad that we got beat by that much. I think that was probably driver error more so than car. So, but overall, it's a good spot to start.
There were some challenges last week in Phoenix by all the JGR cars. Have you guys found something this week?
Well, thankfully, this is a lot different than Phoenix. I'm hoping for a much better result. It was a struggle for all of us at JGR at Phoenix last week for sure. So, we had good speed today. You can see that in qualifying. Our qualifying's been much better this year. So hopefully tomorrow we can all work hard through practice, get a good race set up for Sunday.
Matt says, I hate we got beat by that much. He only missed the pole by 4/100ths of a second. There's the man who got it. We'll be back with more from Auto Club Speedway, where Kurt Busch has won the pole for Sunday's race. Kevin Harvick's Chevrolet being rolled into post-qualifying inspection after winning the outside pole for Sunday's race. Now tomorrow, Clint Boyer will trade his fire suit for jacket and tie for our Xfinity race coverage, but right now he's earned a qualifying spot. Chris?
Yeah, and he earned a good one this weekend. Going to start 10th. Obviously, a lot better than last weekend. You were a little frustrated last weekend, but you're smiling now.
Well, I knew I qualified better this week when you showed up instead of the Doomsday Jamie. When Jamie shows up, you know you've qualified horribly bad. But so a good breath of fresh air for our race team. The Blue Death Peak Toyota's been good all weekend. This is a fun racetrack. Race is good, and I really enjoy getting down to the race. We can see the front from there. Top 10 starting spot is a good day for us, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow. A little bit tight across the center. Need to work on that a little bit, but I think we can get it dialed in for tomorrow and be good Sunday.
Yeah, and he's going to have some fun with us in the booth tomorrow for the Xfinity race. Jamie?
Hey, what's up with that? I talked to drivers who qualify well, right, Martin? 12th today.
Absolutely.
How about your race car on Sunday? You've been on a hot streak. Is this car going to measure up to those?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, qualifying's probably been our weakest part of the weekend so far this year. We need to work on that. We're still trying to figure it out. But, all in all, I think that the guys did a good job throughout qualifying. I was a little nervous after the first round, we were 20th. So to recover to 11th the second round, 12th the third round, I thought that was okay. I screwed up a little bit in the third round there. Tried to move around a little bit and change my line and cost us some time. Felt like we probably should have been 10th or so. But all in all, you can win from 12th here, and we'll get to work tomorrow and look forward to see what we have in race trim.
All right, Martin Truex Jr., only one of 3 drivers who finished top 10 in the first 4 races, Mike.
Right. Thanks, Jamie. There's Richard Childress congratulating Martin. And what did we learn today? We didn't get a track record, but we've got 2 Chevys on the front row and Kevin Harvick going for the weekend sweep.
I just think it's kind of cool that those 2 Stewart-Haas cars, and Gene Haas's company's right here in this area, and they're on the front row. And the Toyota guys, I was with a lot of them yesterday, and they were pretty excited about what they had to work with this weekend, and they're all qualified up in the top 10 as well. So it just shows a home field advantage. I don't care if you're playing basketball or if you're racing cars. It seems to really help.
Well, to get beyond the idea that this is Toyota's home field, and they are moving their headquarters to Texas, their U.S. headquarters, so that'll become their home field. But Southern California is the biggest market for new car sales in all of America. So if you believe in winning on Sunday and selling on Monday, and we do, then this is a pivotal race, not just for Toyota, but for Ford and for Chevrolet as well.
Everybody.
But I do especially think for Toyota, Mike, because we're sitting on the 1-year anniversary since their last win at a non-restrictor plate track. And look at Row 2. Matt Kenseth has not won a race since September of 2013 after winning 7 races that year. And then how about the guy starting on the outside of Row 2, David Reagan? He has 2 wins at restrictor plate tracks, and he's driving for a team that's won the last 2 races here. So, of course, that's a couple of drivers along with about 40 others that would love to stop this sweep of this Western swing by Kevin Harvick.
I say keep an eye on that 18 car. I honestly believe that David has just been kind of slipping up on this deal. He's going to win a race in that 18 car, I believe.
I know you hear that quiet optimism in his interview. Well, soon we're headed for Thunder Valley and racing's last great Coliseum. The Spring NASCAR weekend, Spring Flowers, never mind March Madness. April 17th and 19th will be at Bristol, and you can come join us. Order your tickets today. Three things you need to know from Sprint Cup qualifying. Stewart-Haas on the front row, second race this season. That's happened with teammates, Daytona being the first. Kurt Busch, Kevin Harvick will share the front row. Joe Gibbs Racing, 3 cars in the first 8 positions, led by number 20, Matt Kenseth. And Joey Logano misses the final round of qualifying for the first time since last October. Now, the Fox Sports mothership is located just 60 miles to the west of us. And in Friday afternoon LA traffic, that's only 3 hours or so. We'll see you tomorrow.
4 things you need to know.
Something I didn't even know.